I'm Karen Grete from Scandinavian Today. I am going to cook Bøf Stroganoff, that's the Danish name, and in English it's called Beef Stroganoff. That is one of the dishes my mom always made for us when I was a child, and I basically like to make it the way she did it, although I understand that there are different ways of cooking beef stroganoff and it varies a little bit from country to country. She always served it with mashed potatoes. And of course, later on I found out that it's really a Russian dish. I had no idea. But in Denmark it's usually served with mashed potatoes. I understand in some countries they serve it with rice or noodles. I am going to use mashed potatoes today. So let me show you all my ingredients. Here you see my ingredients for today. Of course, I'm going to use about a pound of beef fillet of beef, and then I have half a pound of mushrooms. I'm going to slice them. Already sliced some of them. I have a very large onion which I also sliced. Then I'm going to use about a tablespoon of tomato puree, about a tablespoon of butter to fry the meat in the butter, and actually I'm going to sprinkle about 2 tablespoons of paprika on the beef. Okay, and make sure it gets all over. And then I'm going to use about half a cup of heavy cream, but you can also use sour cream if you have that. And finally I'm going to use a little bit of garlic as well as half a cup of beef broth, and then of course salt and pepper to taste. And I understand some people use bacon. My mom never did that, so I usually don't use bacon either, but if you like it, go ahead and use that too. So the onions are cooked for a minute or two, and now I'm going to add the mushrooms. And make sure they also get cooked. It doesn't take long for them. And of course you might want to add a little bit of salt as well as pepper. So the onions and the mushrooms are all finished, and I pour them up on a plate, and then I can fry the meat. So here I added the meat to the pan. Of course there's paprika on it, so you want to keep stirring. And if you don't have enough butter in the pan, you can always add a little bit of oil. Okay, and as I said, keep stirring since you have paprika on. You don't want that to get stirred. If you're not using fillet or beef but tougher kind of meat, you might want to cook it longer. Okay, and add some liquid and make sure it's soft enough before you mix it all up. But as I said, keep stirring. So now I return the onions and the mushrooms to the beef. Also, I'm going to add here we have it, let's see, the tomato puree, and I have a tablespoon of that. As well as the heavy cream. I have about half a cup of that, and then mix it all up. Have an absolutely delicious beef stroganoff all prepared, and of course, as I mentioned earlier, I like to serve it with mashed potatoes. Okay, and it is ready. And of course, before you serve it, you want to check and see if you need a little bit more of salt and pepper in the sauce. I think it's actually pretty good. Maybe just a little bit of pepper. I don't want too much salt, but this seems to be fine. So my beef stroganoff is all finished and it's time to taste it. So here I have, like I mentioned earlier, I like to serve it with mashed potatoes, but pasta or rice works fine as well. Mashed potatoes are good. And now we have to taste the beef, and of course with onions and mushrooms. I love mushrooms. And I have to tell you that in my childhood, we would always pick mushrooms on the fields on my grandfather's farm. And we enjoyed doing it. So I grew up eating a lot of mushrooms. I still enjoy it, and of course they're very good for us. So, and like I mentioned earlier, when I was a child, I thought it was a Danish dish because my mom always made it, and as far as I knew, she only made Danish dishes. But now I understand it's really a Russian dish, although we have our Danish touch on it. And hopefully you will also like it. Okay, Harry. You want a piece? All right, come up here. Come here. Okay, here you go. Take a piece. All right, thank you. So hopefully you will also like it. Please enjoy and see you next time. And skål. Bye-bye. Skål to all of you, and see you another day. Bye bye.